I'm relieved and I'm happy that justice was served. Of course, we wanted the death penalty, but this was good.
The judge finally spoke, and after years of waiting, Ibraheem Yazeed learned his fate. In May 2026, the man accused of kidnapping and killing 19-year-old Aniah Blanchard was sentenced to life in prison.
This is a story of a 19-year-old college student stopped at a gas station for what should have been a routine errand. Minutes later, she vanished without a trace. The chilling evidence investigators uncovered would eventually point to a murder that shocked Alabama. But one question still fuels debate to this day. This is the Aniah Blanchard case. Stay tuned and subscribe after watching the video. On the evening of October 23, 2019, 19-year-old college student Aniah Blanchard made what should have been an ordinary stop at a gas station in Auburn, Alabama. It was a simple errand, one that countless people make every day without a second thought. She never returned home. When calls and messages went unanswered, those closest to her immediately sensed something was wrong. Her disappearance was completely out of character, and concern quickly turned into a desperate search. What began as a missing person investigation would soon become one of Alabama's most heartbreaking criminal cases. Annia was a young woman with her future ahead of her. She was attending college, loved by her family and friends, and looking forward to the opportunities that lay before her. Those who knew her remembered her as caring, driven, and full of life. No one imagined that the gas station visit would be the last confirmed sighting of her. Security cameras captured Annia arriving at the convenience store that evening. Investigators later determined that this was the final verified moment she was seen alive. As detectives reviewed the footage, they believed it showed her encountering another individual shortly before she disappeared, giving the investigation its first significant lead. A short time later, another discovery deepened investigators' concerns. Aniah's vehicle was found abandoned in Montgomery, Alabama. According to prosecutors, forensic investigators found blood inside the vehicle that matched Aniah's DNA, along with evidence they believed indicated a violent struggle had occurred. At that point, investigators feared they were no longer searching for someone who had simply gone missing. Law enforcement agencies from across the region joined the search. Volunteers handed out flyers, searched wooded areas, and shared Aniah's story in the hope that someone had seen or heard something that could help. Her family held on to hope as each new tip came in. Meanwhile, investigators gathered surveillance footage from multiple locations, interviewed witnesses, and traced Aniah's final movements. As the evidence came together, they identified a suspect. That suspect was Ibraheem Yazeed. Investigators alleged that the evidence, including surveillance footage, witness statements, and other findings, placed Yazid in connection with Aniah's disappearance. Based on that evidence, authorities accused him of abducting her from the Auburn gas station. A warrant was issued, and Yazid was later arrested in Florida before being returned to Alabama to face criminal charges. Even with a suspect in custody, one painful question remained unanswered. Where was Annia? Nearly a month after she disappeared, search teams made the discovery her loved ones had feared. Human remains were found in a wooded area of Macon County, Alabama. Authorities later confirmed that the remains belonged to Aniah Blanchard. The news devastated her family and marked a heartbreaking turn in the investigation, which had now become a homicide case. When the case went to trial, prosecutors presented surveillance footage, forensic evidence, witness testimony, and other investigative findings that they argued proved Yazid was responsible for kidnapping and killing Annia. The defense challenged that conclusion. Yazid's attorneys argued that the state's case relied largely on circumstantial evidence and maintained that prosecutors had not proven guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. After hearing weeks of testimony and reviewing the evidence, the jury reached its decision. Ibraheem Yazeed was found guilty of murder and felony murder. He was later sentenced to life in prison. For Aniah's family, the verdict brought legal accountability, but it could never erase the loss of a daughter whose life ended far too soon. The case, however, did not end with the conviction. Yazid's attorneys appealed the verdict, arguing that it was contrary to the weight of the evidence and that the prosecution failed to establish guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. An appeal asks a higher court to review the legal proceedings. It does not automatically overturn a conviction or determine innocence. Today, Aniah Blanchard's case remains a painful reminder of how quickly an ordinary day can turn into an unimaginable tragedy. Behind every court filing, every piece of evidence, and every headline is the story of a young woman whose life was cut short and a family forever changed by her loss. While the legal process continues through the appellate system, Annia is remembered not for the circumstances of her death, but for the life she lived, the future she was building, and the people who continue to honor her memory.